Just ahead on CTV News, the first presidential debate of the season is tonight. We sit down with a political analyst to discuss what to expect.
Today is National HIV Testing Day. I'm Bryce Parker. We have information on how to know your status in just 10 minutes coming up on CTV News.
Plus, Hyattsville police host a dare camp for kids. Those stories and more on CTV News, up next.
Good evening, this is CTV News for June 27th. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Mariah Gilad. Thanks for joining us. Today is National HIV Testing Day, which has been observed since 1995.
Knowing your status could help make the community a healthier place. CTV's Bryce Parker has our story.
There's a misconception that people have a belief that it's not going to happen to me.
Today is National HIV Testing Day, and Heart to Hand is working to ensure everyone in Prince George's County knows their status.
We see a broad variety of folks throughout the county. That is our main focus, to support people around education and prevention and treatment around HIV and STI.
Today, they have partnered with multiple Walgreens across the county, offering screenings to anyone who walks in.
We have to be in spaces where people may commonly go. So people are often at places like Walgreens, out in the community. So it's important that we're visible to know and tell people about learning their status and to do it for free.
And there is no better time to know your status than now. Prince George's County has the second highest rate of infections in Maryland, so taking the 10-minute test could be a lifesaver.
There are a lot of folks who still don't, they think the epidemic has ended, and so this is an opportunity to get out there and tell folks and remind folks that we still have work to do around ending the epidemic.
And ending the epidemic can be as easy as asking your partner 4 simple words. Have you been tested?
But we can't get there if everybody doesn't know their status, and as a community, it's community health and community wealth if everyone knows their status.
Now, Heart to Hand will be doing testing at several Walgreens locations across the area until 7 p.m. today. So if you have not gotten tested yet today, you still have time. From Riverdale, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
And Heart to Hand is also giving out free gift cards to Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, and Walgreens to anyone who gets tested while supplies last.
Health experts say testing events help support the national goal of ending HIV by 2030. Well, last week, Governor Wes Moore and Attorney General Anthony Brown unveiled an online system that allows sexual assault victims to track their rape kits. Baltimore County State's Attorney Scott Schellenberger says he's been pushing for the system for years. He says advocacy started when he learned about an out-of-state rape incident.
I learned of a case in another state where the victim came and said, my ex-boyfriend raped me. They tested the kit, and they found that he had also raped a stranger because they had that DNA, but they didn't know who he was. And when I learned of that case several years ago, it honestly was a very much aha moment of why we need to test all the kits. And I've been working on that project for several years to test all the kits and to have this tracking system for victims to hold us accountable.
And the number of same-sex marriages in Maryland has risen sharply since the U.S. Supreme Court extended the right 9 years ago. According to the Census Bureau, there were 4,400 same-sex marriages in Maryland in 2012. By 2015, the year the High Court legalized same-sex marriage, that number grew to more than 10,000. Since then, the total has grown to more than 16,000. Same-sex marriage was banned in most states when Massachusetts became the first state to legalize it in 2003. Maryland's law took effect in 2013.
The Maryland Department of Labor remains behind on thousands of unemployment claims 2 years after a settlement was reached to fix the problem, this according to the Daily Record. Despite the state agreeing to reform the system, progress remains slow. Quarterly reports indicate that the department has not met the agreed-upon targets. To avoid returning to court, both sides have agreed to extend for another year a period of monitoring progress towards the settlement terms.
And the EPA has awarded $1.3 million for green infrastructure projects to improve communities in 5 states and the District of Columbia. There are 33 awardees of the Green Streets, Green Jobs, Green Towns 2024 grant program. Prince George's County will receive a portion of that funding. The money will help communities with things like forming stormwater mitigation plans, increasing the number of green spaces, and improving the health of local rivers. And a new report from the Governor's Highway Safety Association showed nationwide there was more than a 5% decline in fatal crashes in 2023 compared to 2022. However, here in Maryland, those numbers increased. Last year, 621 people were killed on Maryland roadways, including 158 pedestrians and 15 bicyclists. This was a significant increase from 2022 when the state had 566 fatalities.
Yesterday, the Moore administration announced more than $1.5 million in pedestrian and bicycle safety grants. One local leader says it's long overdue.
To even build a sidewalk and maintain that, that's like way more than a $1.5 million, depending on what stretch of road you're looking at. And to put in, like, a lot of people in the county email me about flashing stop signs, things like that. Like, there's a high cost. I mean, it's always great for a start. We're thankful to the Moore Miller administration for those funds. We're all dealing with infrastructure that was designed to be a sleep town. You sleep in Prince George's and you work in DC, or you ran a farm, and that was that. The infrastructure wasn't designed the best. So I think we're all doing the best we can over generations. All of us building to make it better to match the demand and the needs we have today.
And coming up on CTV News, the heat is on, but your favorite ice cream may be temporarily gone.
We find out which ice cream brands are being recalled when we come back. Stay tuned.
If alcohol builds a wall around you that doesn't let you see where you're going, that keeps you feeling isolated and alone, that makes you feel hopeless, know this: we're here to help if you want us to. It's never too early or too late to ask for help with a drinking problem. Alcoholics Anonymous, there is a way out. For more information, visit aa.org and download the Meeting Guide app.
Welcome back. The FBI is offering up to $10 million for information leading to the arrest of a Russian national. He's accused of conspiring with the Russian military to destroy Ukrainian computer systems. 22-year-old Amin Stiegel was indicted yesterday by a federal grand jury in Greenbelt. He's also accused of targeting computer systems in Maryland. The alleged crimes occurred in 2021 and 2022. If convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. If you have any information about his whereabouts, contact the FBI.
And the state is teaming up again with a popular children's group to get school supplies in the hands of kids in need. The Maryland Department of Transportation and the State Department of Education are partnering with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Maryland for its 4th annual Back to School Supply Drive. Residents have until July 12th to drop off supplies at any of the 90 locations across the state. For more details on the supplies needed and where to turn in the donations, visit the website on your screen.
And Hyattsville police host DARE Camp this week with officer-led lessons on drug abuse resistance. 20 students have been learning at Hyattsville Elementary with the guidance of Prince George's, Hyattsville, Bladensburg, Laurel, and State Parks Police.
While the lessons cover the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse, they also teach students how to refuse peer pressure, make responsible decisions, and gives them an opportunity to boost their social skills.
In the camp, we've been learning about different ways on how to communicate confidently with each other, and we've also been learning about ways how to deal with stress if you are ever feeling down or having a hard time.
This week I learned about how drugs and alcohol can mess up your body, and that alcohol causes memory loss and smoking causes lung cancer.
The kids are just exposed at a younger age, Things in general have been more difficult since the COVID pandemic, no doubt. Kids saw things that they weren't in school, and they were home, and they were on the streets more, so they were exposed to more. And in general, this is helping them have the tools in their tool belt to handle those adult situations that unfortunately they face.
I think it's been really cool learning about police and stuff like that. I never really knew that much about them.
I enjoy that there's a lot of kids there and there's a lot of fun learning that you can do.
The DARE camp is free to students and takes place every summer.
German automaker Volkswagen is recalling more than 250,000 vehicles due to issues with the front passenger airbag. The recalls for certain Atlas SUVs from model years 2021 to 2024 and Atlas Cross Sports SUVs from 2020 to 2024. Dealers will replace the sensor at no cost to owners starting August 16th. Volkswagen says the owners of these vehicles should stop using the front passenger seat until the repairs have been made.
And Walgreens is set to close a significant number of underperforming stores in an effort to improve the struggling business. A specific number of stores has not been given, but Walgreens CEO says closures will make up a meaningful percent of the nearly quarter of stores underperforming. The closures will focus on stores that are not profitable, too close to each other, or dealing with significant theft.
And the hot weather may be here, but your favorite ice cream may not. Maryland-based Totally Cool has recalled products from 13 brands it distributes nationwide over potential listeria contamination. Brands include Hershey's, Cumberland Farms, Jenny's, and Friendly's. More than 65 products were recalled, including ice cream cakes and sorbets. So far, there have been no reports of illness. For more information on the brands and products, call 410-363-7801. And still to come on the news, a current and former president are gearing up for the debate tonight.
Our political contributor, John Ronquillo, is here to help us prepare. Stay tuned.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed with glaucoma.
There were no symptoms. I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Diversity is in our nature. It is in nature, too. Biodiversity. It connects us and sustains us. But nature's biodiversity is at risk more than ever before, and the future of all life is in our hands. So what will you do? Love it or lose it?
It is so hot out today, but I'm about to get this hike in, and I just had to show you the view. Beautiful.
Yo, you should come out here. We came outside to unwind.
Oh, wow.
What's the laptop? Transmission.
We outside, come find us.
For the first time in history, a sitting U.S. president and a former president will face each other on the debate stage. Joe Biden and Donald Trump are set to take a stage tonight in Atlanta for the 90-minute event. There is much to talk about.
And here to help us understand what's at stake, it's CTV's news political contributor, John Ronquillo, director of the University of Maryland Institute for Public Leadership. Thank you, sir, for joining us. A lot to unpack, a lot of hype coming into this. What are you looking for tonight?
You know, I'm almost expecting the renowned boxing announcer Michael Buffer to come out and say, let's get ready to rumble, to tell you the truth. I think that tonight is history-making in a lot of ways. People have referenced the candidates' ages, the fact that this is the first time in over 40 years that it's a debate that's not sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, and there's not going to be an audience. I think that's going to benefit people in the long run to get information from the candidates and be more focused. We know that Trump has played into his audiences a lot. And this time it's going to be just the 2 men at their podium and the two moderators from CNN.
But without the mics being turned on the whole time and no audience, what does that say about us, the way they're conducting this?
I think it says a lot about the past of these two gentlemen as they've interacted with each other. We know that when they debated in 2020 that there were some fireworks, so to say, at one point in time, President Biden saying, "Will you shut up, man," to Donald Trump. And so I think the microphone thing is one function of eliminating crosstalk, and again, just making sure that voters and viewers are going to have the opportunity to really focus on what the two men are saying.
So what are the most important issues going to be that they're going to discuss tonight? What are voters going to be looking for?
Yeah, I think it always boils down to a handful of issues that are always heavy on voters' minds. Certainly people are concerned about the economy, people are concerned about immigration, people are concerned about crime. Despite the fact that there are statistics and numbers that show the directionality of where these things are going, it's still, you know, an ever-present issue, or issues, plural, that we're considering. And I think that all three of those things will definitely pop up tonight.
Here's a two-part question. What does the president need to do tonight, and then Mr. Trump as well? What do they have to do on stage tonight?
They have to gain Americans' trust, right? I think that we're in an era right now where there is not a whole lot of trust in government organizations, whether that be the White House itself in terms of the presidency, but even administrative divisions and bureaus. I think that we are trying to restore some trust in a lot of different ways, and I'm hoping that we see a restoration of that. I think that the timing, the pacing, who speaks first, who speaks last, I believe former President Trump will have the last word at tonight's debate, is something that weighs on people's minds as well. But you know, we know that President Biden is a methodical person when it comes to his debate prep. He did deliver a very good State of the Union earlier this year. And it'll be interesting because this debate is also earlier than most debates are typically held in a presidential contest.
Do you think that Trump is going to be questioned about January 6th and his recent legal troubles, and, you know, Biden is dealing with his son Hunter just had some legal trouble? Do you think that's going to come up?
I do, and for better or worse, because it's something that is going to be not only on voters' minds, it's surely something that both the president and former president have thought about as well too. You know, in debates like this, barbs come out even when, you know, they're sort of ancillary to what's really important and what's on everybody's mind right now. But they are going to come up because we now have felons on both sides of the aisle, bearing in mind that the current sitting president is not in the same predicament that the former president is in. But yeah, they'll come up.
Now, a lot of folks have already made up their minds. The question this morning on C-SPAN was, do debates actually matter at this point?
I think they do. I think they do. It gives us an opportunity to hear from them directly and to kind of remove some of the noise, bearing in mind that noise will certainly infiltrate the debate. But with all the mechanisms in play, no audience, the mic cuts, things of that nature, I really do, again, hope that it's an opportunity for us to kind of laser focus a little bit more on their words. Knowing that at least one of these candidates, you know, speaks to audiences regularly, speaks at length, hours, whether it's about sharks or politics, he's always talking to his audiences, and so he has a very loyal following. I do think that the demographics of certain voters are something to keep in mind, and it's getting increasingly tougher as our elections get more complex, as our population grows, to speak to each of those demographics in terms of generating voter turnout. And so I think that we're going to see some interesting things at play, and we'll see how those different demographics, younger versus middle-aged voters versus older voters, respond to tonight's debate.
And another thing about what's important to voters, we hear so much about Biden's age and his competency. Trump is only a few years younger. Do you think that age is really important to voters this year?
You know, people are definitely talking about it, with the caveat that people don't want to seem inherently ageist, right? Biden is 81. He'll turn 82 shortly after the election. President Trump just turned 78 a couple of weeks ago. And the irony is that former President Trump often impugns President Biden over his age. It's going to come up. It's an interesting moment in time because of their age, having both candidates being in that bracket. But ultimately, I think that people will hopefully also realize that the teams that these gentlemen bring with them, they are not operating alone. They have teams who are intrepid, and who keep the lights on and keep the gears turning, so to say. So it's not only a vote for these men individually, it's a vote for ultimately who their administrations would be composed of as well.
So as they debate tonight, are they going after the undecideds? Because again, I think most folks have made up their minds about this. Are they going after those who are still on the fence on this issue?
If it were me, Byron, I absolutely would. As you know, they have both been polling incredibly close to each other, kind of a split decision at this point in time. I know some media outlets are reporting that former President Trump is up in several of the swing states. And so, again, the timing, this being early, I think that there is definitely an opportunity to go for those undecideds. I know there are some people who are thinking, how could you possibly be undecided in an election of this nature? But there's also some solace realizing that people are actually going to consider their options as we approach Election Day. And so hopefully they're going for those swing votes.
Well, we'll definitely be tuning in tonight. And thank you so much, Mr. Ronquillo, for being with us again. We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, Mariah. Byron, thank you.
Okay, all righty.
And again, that debate kicks off tonight at 9. Many will be watching.
So we asked voters what they'll be looking for tonight. And what are you going to be looking out for?
Well, how each man conduct themselves as a leader of the country, their demeanor, body language, how they speak, their tone of voice, respect.
Do you think you hear anything tonight that may change your mind?
No. They're going to say the same thing over and over. So I don't think there's anything.
I want to hear about the issues, the common issues, the welfare issues that benefits the ordinary man, ordinary person. That's what I'm interested in. Not politics, not the fight, but what programs do they have? What plans do they have for the ordinary, for the people, for the ordinary people?
And still ahead, we step into the world of basketball.
2024 NBA draft and a big win for the women Terps. We'll have those stories and more. Stay tuned.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Are you a Maryland homeowner struggling to pay your mortgage or other housing-related bills due to the COVID-19 pandemic? The state of Maryland is offering free help through the Homeowner Assistance Fund. You may be eligible for financial assistance for past due mortgage payments, property taxes, home insurance, HOA fees, and more. You can even apply for help with emergency home repairs. Visit homeownerassistance.maryland.gov or call 833-676-0119 to learn more.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
Well, we've got your Thursday sports page for you. First up, the Maryland women's basketball team won its first game of its Croatian tour 82-34 over the Zagreb All-Stars last night. Maryland jumped out to an 18-6 lead at the end of the first quarter. At halftime, the Terps kept the lead 44-13. Cheyenne Sellers led all scorers with 13 points. Bree McDaniel added 11 points, and Sailor Poffenbarger grabbed 10 rebounds.
I thought it was a great game, a lot of new faces to be able to incorporate on the floor, and it's just being able to see their effort, their energy. I liked the tenacity on both ends of the floor, and I thought we grew as the game unfolded. You could see a lot of unselfishness, sharing the basketball, and playing hard on both ends of the floor, so quite pleased. I think every single player contributed something. Obviously I was more curious with all of our new players, and so I thought our freshmen were fearless. I thought they used the opportunities that they had and took advantage of them, and then just to see some of our older vets that have come into the program, being able to get used to each other, but a lot of just great things for us to look forward to with this upcoming season.
And Maryland will play its second game of the Croatia trip on Sunday. Tip-off is at noon.
And last night was the first night of the NBA draft with the number 2 pick. The Washington Wizards selecting 19-year-old freshman Alexander Sarr. Sarr is a 7-foot center from the Perth Wildcats of the NBL in Australia. Last season he averaged 9.7 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks for Perth.
I think it's really special, like any pick you get picked, the team is taking a chance on me, and I'm really blessed for that, and I won't take it for granted, and doing it in front of my family, them being able to come to New York, it just means a lot, and I'll just, just play with effort and impact winning.
I think Alex is a special young man. He has a humility to him, but also a confidence. So when you put those things together with the work ethic that he's proven, and he's not afraid to really explore his game and take chances. So he left home at 14, went to Madrid, played there for a few years, went to America, tried something new with OTE, wanted another challenge, went and played with grown men in Australia. So he's someone that's always looking for more, always trying to get better and compete, and knows who he is. So when you talk to him, it's like a quiet confidence that he knows he's going to continue to get better and has a lot of work to do, but he didn't run away from that. So he's a true basketball player.
And the Wizards made some other moves last night. They've agreed in principle to acquire the draft rights of Bub Carrington, the 14th overall pick from the Portland Trail Blazers, and acquired the draft rights to Keshawn George, the 24th overall pick from the New York Knicks. The 2024 NBA draft concludes tonight. We'll have a full report on the Wizards, who they choose, tomorrow on CTV Sports.
Now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, expect clear skies going into the weekend. Friday will be mostly sunny with a high of 84.
Saturday, a high of 88 with a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Sunday, those storms are sticking around with a high of 92 and a cool low of 67.
Now let's get a look at our community calendar. In honor of Black Music Month, Prince George's County Council member Crystal Oriafa is hosting a Black Music Summit.
Come enjoy the vibrant celebration, the profound impact of Black music on culture, society, and activism. The outdoor concert taking place tomorrow from 6 to 9 p.m. at the address on your screen. For more information, call 301-952-3690.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. I'm Mariah Jalad. Thanks for joining us.
See you tomorrow night. Good night.